right, it's 2023. Happy New Year, everyone. And I wanted to do a quick video just to kind of share something that I've been doing since early on in my career. And I'm hoping that this will really help some of the young people that hopefully there's some young people that subscribe to this channel. And this is really for anybody. Uh, Setting goals is something that you really should be doing every year is a good period of time to kind of focus. And you really need to write down your goals so that you can refer back to them. You get busy, you forget about things, and you need something to hold yourself accountable. So really encourage you guys to write down some goals, every period or so. And, like I'm saying, I'm doing it on an annual basis. And, the real reason here is that, you're really going to make incremental improvements over time. And that's the way that you gain knowledge. And knowledge is power. So you really want to get as much as you possibly can. Okay, and with that, I'll share my technology development goals for 2023. So, the first thing on my list here is to improve my Python skills. So over the 2022, I was starting to get into Python a little bit more. It's very similar to some of the programming languages that I've used in the past. Most primarily Perl. It's very similar to. So anything that you've used in the past and it's similar really it makes it a lot easier to learn, and that's why it's attracting me at this point. And it's got a very good, robust set of libraries that you can use to do all sorts of things. Like last year, the projects that I did involving Python, the first one I did was to interact with some of the APIs that Yahoo Finance has. And I pulled in some crypto and some option prices, and I pulled those in and I stored them into a Dynamo DB database, which is a key value pair database that's supported by Amazon AWS. So that was a neat little project. I also had a need to automatically download some files using secure FTP. So there's another library in Python that supports that. I integrated that, and then I created just a quick little program that was able to go and pull files on a daily basis from a secure FTP site because we were loading them into a database. And most recently, I've been working with the OpenAI API just to kind of fool around with it and learn how to use it. So see, this is some of the things I did in 2022, and I'd like to expand on that in 2023. Next thing here is research AI foundational tools and incorporate them into my work. So I mentioned OpenAI. If you may have noticed that I did a couple of videos recently just as a test to kind of test things out and see how it works. And so I went to ChatGPT and I dumped in a couple of topics, and it spit out some pretty intelligent text where I just went in, I read through it, made a couple of edits. In some cases, I added some examples that I could integrate with the video. And I took that text and I pasted it into another AI engine that generates text to speech and also has an avatar that looks like they're basically mouthing the words that are uh, being said. So it was kind of a neat little introduction to these technologies, and I'm encouraged by it. And I'm interested in what you guys think. Do you like those videos compared to my own? I'm sort of an introvert, so I don't really enjoy listening to myself, and I totally hate looking at myself, which is why you don't see me making videos with my a picture of me or a video of me in the corner, because I can hardly handle listening to myself, let alone looking at myself. So that's why I'm kind of experimenting with these things. I'm interested in seeing what you guys think of those. So, so that's the AI section, and then the next one is to improve DevOps and monitoring skills working with AWS technologies. So I've got a lot of things that are running in AWS, and I'd like to expand on some of the monitors that you can use with CloudWatch. CloudWatch is Amazon's basically their monitoring tool. So a lot of the results of jobs and things that are running or servers that they have running, they can basically pump out information into CloudWatch, and then you can create alarms on them and notify yourself. So that's very valuable when you're trying to keep an eye on your infrastructure. And I'd like to beef up on those skills. And then you can also automate invocations. So I work a lot of, I mentioned I have another video on the DMS, the database migration service of Amazon AWS. And what that allows you to do is take data and replicate it across multiple servers for whatever reason. In my case, we're doing it mostly for having a reporting server. And we've got some issues with it. Periodically we've got some tables that are having trouble staying in sync. And I'd like to just automate some of the tasks of in cases where we have problems with any of these tables that are not replicating correctly. I'd like to be able to just fire off a script to automatically tell DMS to resync that table. So that's a great example of something that I'd like to do along those lines. Then the last thing I have here is research serverless technologies and try to get a project in this area. So I've done a little bit in the past. So serverless means that you don't have a server you're managing. AWS is presenting a service to you, and you're just using that service using either APIs or going through uh, their interface or using the AWS console to interface with the service. And so I've used Athena in the past, which is a query, uh, basically a query service that you can build to access various types of data. Primarily, one of the first things you can use this for is S3, which is the simple storage service of AWS. And you could store things up there like CSVs or different file formats that are a little that it's not actually in a database. It's just something that's sitting out on S3, and you can query them directly. So that's Athena, something I'd like to play with a little bit more. And then they also have a service named Glue, and this is the AWS ETL tool. And what Glue allows you to do is create, extract, transform, and load uh, programs that basically cleanse data or take data from source to target or embellish it in any way. So that's another thing I'd like to do. So those are my technology development goals for 2023. All right. So what are your personal development goals for 2023? Drop them in the comments. This is going to help me decide on what areas to develop content for the channel over the next year. And as always, if you have something specific to ask, feel free to ask. Talk to you later, guys. Happy New Year.